by the whining, and, the curtsy, the thing she said about medieval.
The studio fell silent for half a second and then erupted. Sharon Osbourne had just said what no one else in Hollywood dared to. With a sharp tongue and zero hesitation, she tore through Meghan Markle's royal drama like it was her own talk show battlefield, calling her out for whining, hypocrisy, and turning her life into a soap opera. It wasn't cruel. It was brutally funny and painfully true. And as the audience laughed, one question hung in the air. Did Sharon just say what the whole world's been too scared to admit about Meghan Markle? Move on, get a life. Sharon's brutal opening shot.
For family, you're so much in love. Move on, get a life, move on. And they just can't seem to, because their living is by telling their truth on the royal family.
It was one of those moments where the entire studio went quiet, not out of shock, but out of agreement. Sharon Osbourne, never known for sugarcoating anything, looked straight into the camera and said what millions of people had been thinking for years. You've got a great life, a beautiful family, you're so in love. Move on, get a life. It was simple, direct, and brutally honest. In that single line, she dismantled Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's entire public persona, the endless interviews, documentaries, and truth-telling moments that somehow always circle back to the royal family. Sharon's tone wasn't cruel, it was fed up. And that's what made it sting even more. Her words hit because they exposed the one contradiction that's been impossible to ignore. Meghan and Harry claim they want privacy, that they're exhausted from being in the spotlight, that the media ruin their peace. Yet, everything they do seems to pull them right back into it. They've made an industry out of their trauma, packaging pain into streaming deals, book tours, and podcast episodes. Sharon simply called it for what it is: performance disguised as vulnerability. It's not healing if every emotional moment comes with a camera crew and a paycheck. In a media world obsessed with tiptoeing around the Sussexes, Sharon's bluntness felt like a breath of fresh air. She didn't need flowery language or PR-coded diplomacy. She spoke like the average person watching this royal soap opera unfold year after year. Her frustration wasn't personal, it was cultural. People are tired of being guilt-tripped into sympathy for two millionaires who fled royal duty only to monetize every detail of their royal fallout. Sharon's words weren't mean, they were the truth dressed in honesty, the kind that's become rare in Hollywood. Calling out the hypocrisy, from prince to pope. If Sharon's first jab was bold, her second one was savage. With that trademark British wit and a delivery that could slice through glass, she took aim at Prince Harry himself, the once rebellious royal now preaching morality to the world. You were the prince of a goddamn country who dressed up as a Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope. Suck it. It was brutal, hilarious, and brutally hilarious all at once. You could almost hear a collective gasp followed by laughter, because she wasn't wrong. That one-liner didn't just make headlines, it summed up years of public confusion about Harry's transformation. He went from the wild, reckless royal who partied in Vegas to the moral crusader who lectures people on compassion and media ethics. Sharon's joke captured the absurdity of that rebranding, how the man who once made global scandals is now trying to play saint. And she didn't need a monologue to make her point. Just one perfectly crafted insult that exposed the hypocrisy everyone tiptoes around. Her "suck it" moment went viral because it was raw. It wasn't the polite mockery of a talk show host or the distant criticism of a columnist. It was someone cutting through the noise and saying what others are too scared to. Sharon didn't attack Harry's humanity, she attacked the inconsistency. How can you claim to reject royal privilege and media attention while cashing in on both? How can you preach about truth and accountability when you've spent years spinning your own? People laughed, yes, but they also nodded. Because beneath the humor, Sharon was making a serious point. Harry's new moral persona feels manufactured. It's less about growth and more about control. He's replaced one institution, the palace, with another, the Hollywood PR machine. And while others dress up that irony in soft language, Sharon stripped it bare with 3 sharp words and a smirk. Meghan's whine fest. Disrespect to the Queen.
since the Oprah Winfrey interview, in which they made all these incendiary claims. They've not produced any evidence of any racism.
When Sharon Osbourne called out Meghan Markle's comments about the late Queen, you could tell it wasn't about gossip or celebrity drama. It was about something deeper. During her famous Oprah interview, Meghan described meeting Queen Elizabeth II for the first time, saying it felt like she was at medieval times, a restaurant where people eat chicken legs while watching mock sword fights. To many, it sounded like a lighthearted comparison, but to Sharon, it was a slap in the face to a woman who represented nearly a century of duty and dignity. On live TV, Sharon didn't hold back. She called Meghan's remark horribly disrespectful and said it felt like a whine fest, a moment where Meghan wasn't telling her truth, but turning history into a pity party. Sharon's outrage wasn't forced or dramatic. It came from a place of real generational pride. She grew up in a world where you might not agree with authority, but you still respected it, especially someone like Queen Elizabeth, who spent her life serving her country without complaint. For Sharon, watching Meghan publicly mock the Queen's traditions felt like crossing a sacred line. It wasn't just a joke, it was a reflection of a larger attitude, one that seems to dismiss everything that came before in the name of self-expression. That's why Sharon's criticism resonated with so many older viewers. It wasn't about loyalty to the monarchy. It was about respect, humility, and gratitude. Qualities she believes Meghan abandoned the second she moved to California. The comment reignited a debate that never really died. Is Meghan being brave for speaking out? Or is she being disrespectful to an institution that once gave her a global platform? Sharon made it clear which side she was on. To her, Meghan's tone wasn't honest. It was entitled. The late Queen was a symbol of quiet strength, and mocking her as part of a Hollywood-style confession tour felt cheap. Sharon said it best when she called Meghan's behavior a whine fest. That phrase captured everything: the endless complaints, the self-promotion disguised as vulnerability, and the lack of awareness about what true hardship looks like. The family question: what do they actually contribute?
The royal family's life into a soap opera. It's like a really bad, distasteful
I mean, it's always been a
soap
soap opera. I think what's different is it's always been speculative soap opera.
Sharon Osbourne didn't just stop at Meghan's attitude toward the Queen, she went straight for the heart of the issue. What do they actually do? It was a question so simple yet so devastating that it instantly became the headline. In a world where the Sussexes have signed multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix and Spotify, Sharon's point hit like a brick. She wasn't being cruel. She was asking something that millions of people have been quietly wondering for years. Beyond interviews, documentaries, and tell-all books, what have Meghan and Harry actually built? What have they given back besides endless drama? That question became even louder after comedian Joe Coy's joke at the Golden Globes went viral. Standing on stage in front of Hollywood's elite, he said that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle still get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing. The audience laughed, but it wasn't just a punchline. It was the truth, wrapped in humor. Their $100 million Netflix deal produced a single documentary that faded almost as quickly as it aired. Their Spotify contract collapsed after barely a year, and despite all the hype, their so-called media empire has yet to deliver anything memorable. Sharon's criticism wasn't jealousy, it was frustration at how two people with endless opportunities keep wasting them on self-promotion. Even Kelly Osbourne, Sharon's daughter, echoed that sentiment, saying, "You've been handed the world and every major contract, and you didn't deliver because you don't have it." That line summed up what the world was starting to realize. Meghan and Harry don't have a creativity problem. They have a purpose problem. They've built an entire brand around their pain, but there's no depth, no growth, no real content behind it. Sharon's blunt honesty made that emptiness visible. They preach about mental health, activism, and compassion, but it always circles back to themselves. Fake love or publicity stunt. When Sharon Osbourne took aim at Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's constant hand-holding, her words sliced through the glossy surface of their public image. She called their over-the-top affection disingenuous, describing it as something that felt more like a performance than a genuine expression of love. And honestly, she had a point. Every time you see Meghan and Harry at a public event, they're clutching each other's hands, whispering into each other's ears, and staging perfect couple moments that feel more choreographed than natural. Sharon's observation hit home because it captured what many people have quietly felt, that their relationship, at least in public, seems like a brand strategy more than a bond. Sharon didn't mock love, she mocked the way they sold it. The constant physical affection, the staged glances, the synchronized movements. It's all too polished, too calculated, as if every touch is another PR opportunity. For someone like Sharon, who's lived decades in front of cameras, that kind of performance love is easy to spot. She's seen Hollywood couples play the same game, show unity in public to mask chaos behind closed doors. The difference is that Meghan and Harry aren't actors anymore. They're supposed to be philanthropists, activists, and parents trying to live a private life. But you can't preach privacy when your every hug looks rehearsed for the next Netflix montage. The contrast with Prince William and Kate Middleton makes Sharon's point even sharper. William and Kate rarely display public affection, not because they're cold, but because they treat royal duty as work, not theater. They show respect for the moment and for the people around them. Their love shows in small gestures, a glance, a smile, a quiet exchange. Not in performative PDA meant to grab headlines. Sharon's comparison between the two couples made Harry and Meghan's behavior look even more artificial. When you line them up side by side, it's like comparing authenticity to advertisement. Meghan's fame addiction. She just got lucky. Comedian Nikki Glaser once said something that instantly went viral. If she didn't marry him, Meghan would be on The Bachelor this year fighting for a prince. It was funny, but underneath the laughter was a sharp truth. Meghan Markle didn't fall for Harry, she fell for fame. Sharon Osbourne's perspective lined up perfectly with Nikki's. And together, they painted a picture that felt hard to ignore. Meghan's love story wasn't a fairy tale, it was a career move that paid off. Both Sharon and Nikki saw the same pattern, a woman who wanted the spotlight, got it, and then pretended she didn't. Meghan had been chasing fame long before Harry ever entered the picture. From her early acting gigs to her lifestyle blog, The Tig, she was always trying to break through the Hollywood noise. But it was her royal marriage that turned her into a household name. And instead of settling into that privilege gracefully, she used it as a springboard into documentaries, podcasts, and every possible media platform. Sharon saw it for what it was. Not a love story, but a strategy. Nikki's joke about Meghan being on The Bachelor wasn't just a punchline. It captured Meghan's relationship with fame perfectly. She's always needed to be seen, adored, and validated. Marrying a prince gave her the ultimate shortcut: global fame without the grind. Sharon's take echoed that sentiment, calling Meghan a housewife who married the right ginger. It wasn't an insult about her background, it was a commentary on her ambition. To Sharon, Meghan isn't struggling with fame. She's addicted to it. Every public speech, every emotional interview, every carefully curated brand launch feels like another dose of attention she can't live without. The tragedy, if you can call it that, is how transparent it's become. Meghan and Harry claim to hate the spotlight, yet they never seem to leave it. They say they want privacy, but their entire identity depends on being public figures. Sharon and Nikki weren't mocking love or marriage. They were exposing a truth about modern celebrity. Some people don't want peace, they want relevance. Meghan's story stopped being about royal duty a long time ago and became a case study in how fame can consume everything, even relationships. Sharon's ominous prediction: it's going to end badly.
I said it in the beginning in tears. It's going to end very, very badly. And I don't know why. It just keeps taking me back to Edward and Mrs.
When Sharon Osbourne looked straight into the camera and said, "It's going to end very, very badly," it didn't sound like gossip. It sounded like a warning. She wasn't being dramatic or cruel. She was being brutally honest. And the quiet confidence in her voice made it even more chilling. Sharon's prediction wasn't coming from a place of hatred toward Meghan and Harry. It came from experience. Decades spent watching the same Hollywood story unfold again and again. People rise fast, burn bright, isolate themselves, and then crash when the fame they built starts eating them alive. In her eyes, the royal couple isn't exempt from that pattern. They're living it. Sharon laid out the signs like someone who's seen the script before. Isolation? Check. Meghan and Harry have alienated both sides of their family. No relationship with the royals, no connection with Meghan's father, and even their friends from the UK have faded into silence. dependence on controversy? Absolutely. Every major headline they've had since leaving the royal family has been tied to drama. Accusations, interviews, lawsuits, and tell-all deals. It's like chaos has become their currency. And direction, that's where it hits hardest. One day they're working on a podcast, the next, they're producing documentaries, then launching lifestyle brands. It feels less like a plan and more like a scramble to stay relevant. Sharon called it what it is, a downward spiral disguised as reinvention. Her words carry weight because she's not just a talk show host. She's lived through the highs and lows of fame herself. She's seen firsthand how celebrity obsession can destroy families, careers, and reputations. She knows what happens when your life becomes your product. Sharon didn't need to insult Meghan and Harry. She simply pointed out that their current path is unsustainable. Fame built on controversy never lasts. It feeds on itself until there's nothing left, turning life into a soap opera and losing control.
It just insanity. And then it seemed, that everybody was parted. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Oh, I'm for them, I'm against them. And it's like, they were given far too much importance because what do they do?
Yeah.
Sharon Osbourne summed it up perfectly when she said, "He's turned his life and the royal family's life into a soap opera." And she wasn't exaggerating. That one sentence captures everything wrong with the way Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have handled their fame since stepping back from royal life. What started as a declaration of independence turned into a reality show. Except instead of entertainment, it's built on their personal pain. Sharon's point was simple. Some things aren't meant to be monetized. And when you turn your deepest wounds into products, you stop healing and start performing. Harry's memoir, Spare, is a perfect example. It was supposed to tell his truth, but it ended up sounding like an emotional purge sold for millions. He revealed everything: private conversations, family arguments, and even intimate details that no one asked for. The book wasn't just about reflection, it was about revenge. Every sentence read like an episode in a never-ending royal drama. Add to that their Netflix documentary, where they rehashed every grievance with dramatic music and perfect lighting, and it's easy to see why Sharon said what she did. They didn't leave the royal family to escape the spotlight. They left to build their own stage.
Like, my life was so hard. Everybody's f***ing life is hard. Yeah, you were the prince of a goddamn country.
Sharon's critique hits especially hard because she's echoing what so many people have started to feel: exhaustion. The public isn't cruel. They were once sympathetic, but sympathy turns into fatigue when the same story keeps being told over and over again. Every interview, every confession, every truth feels like another season of a show that refuses to end. Sharon's generation was raised on the idea that dignity means keeping some things private. So when she sees Harry turning centuries of royal legacy into content for streaming platforms, she calls it what it is: a soap opera without substance. And the worst part? Even the fans can feel the shift. What used to be a story about love and courage has become one about ego and exposure. Harry and Meghan's attempts to control their image have backfired. The more they talk, the less people believe them. Sharon knows this cycle too well. In Hollywood, once the audience stops buying your story, you're done. Her warning wasn't just about their marriage or careers. It was about losing control of their own narrative. The family divide, Sharon's pain versus Meghan's grudge. When Sharon Osbourne opened up about her father, it was one of those moments that made everyone stop and think. She shared that she hadn't spoken to her dad for 18 years, not because of petty arguments or tabloid drama, but because he had used her in his business dealings and cost her millions. That's real betrayal. The kind that cuts deep and leaves scars money can't heal. Yet, when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, Sharon went back. She didn't hesitate. She cared for him because, as she said simply, "He's my father." No cameras, no statements, no public forgiveness tour, just a daughter putting her pain aside for the man who raised her. That single story said more about Sharon's character than any interview could. It showed empathy, maturity, and an understanding that forgiveness isn't about who deserves it. It's about who needs peace. Then you look at Meghan Markle's situation, and the contrast couldn't be more striking. Meghan's estrangement from her father, Thomas Markle, has lasted for years. And it all began over something as trivial as staged paparazzi photos. Thomas admitted to setting up a few pictures before her royal wedding. An act of poor judgment, sure, but hardly a crime against humanity. Yet that one mistake cost him his relationship with his daughter forever. He wasn't invited to the wedding. He wasn't there for the births of his grandchildren. And since that day, Meghan has reportedly never spoken to him again. For someone who constantly speaks about compassion and healing, her silence toward her own father feels painfully hypocritical. Sharon's forgiveness made Meghan's grudge look even colder. Sharon lost millions and still found her way back to her father. Meghan lost nothing, except her willingness to pick up the phone. Her refusal to reconcile doesn't just show distance. It shows a kind of emotional detachment that feels almost calculated. Thomas Markle's interviews over the years have only made that pain more visible. One line in particular broke people's hearts. Even axe murderers get visits from their family. That sentence wasn't said in anger, it was said in heartbreak. You could hear the hurt in his voice. A father realizing that no matter how many apologies he makes, his daughter may never forgive him. It's hard not to feel sympathy for him. He's 77 years old, battling health issues, and openly admitting that he may die without ever meeting his grandchildren. He said it plainly. Most of the Markle men don't live past 80. That quiet resignation hits hard. Imagine knowing your life is nearing its end and that your own daughter, now one of the most famous women in the world, might never speak to you again. Thomas isn't perfect, but he's human. And every time he appears on screen, it's not for fame or revenge. It's a plea for connection. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.